Did you see whose name popped up on the transaction wire? Well, maybe you did, maybe not. Rob Gronkowski, who was expected to return to Tampa Bay, has decided when you think he's going to zig, he's going to zag. And Gronkowski announced that he is retiring in his early 30s for the second time in a career that will end up in one of those ugly gold jackets. Now, Gronk went on social media to post his goodbyes. He thanked the Buccaneer organization for, quote, an amazing ride as he fades off into the horizon. Or does he? Or does he? And that's the part of the story we need to discuss. The question on this one, what are the odds that Rob Gronkowski unretires again? He's already done it once. What are the odds he does it again? So the MALLER Sportsbook odds on Rob Gronkowski coming back to pro football again. I am setting the odds on this at minus 550. Now that implies an 85% chance. 85% chance that we will see Gronk again. And my perspective on this, you've got Big Top, Scavenger Hunt, and Walmart. And we'll put all of this together and we'll try to make it make sense. Not in the King's English, in sports talk radio English. All right, so A, Rob Gronkowski is being diplomatic, if you will. The way that we interpreted this, it was a polite way of grabbing attention. Look at me! Look at me! I'm not going to play! Yeah. It's like that trope of the rock band that retires and says, we're going to go on a retirement tour, and people buy T-shirts and tickets and coffee mugs and souvenirs, and then 5 years later, they announce we're going on a retirement tour, and people buy the T-shirts, the coffee mugs, the souvenirs, the tickets, the whole thing. Gronk is announcing that he is done being a full-time employee. See, that's my spin on this. That in many ways this is semi-retirement. It's not full retirement. That he does not want to deal with the daily rat race of training camp and practice early in the season. He doesn't want to worry about that. That's his chosen profession, and Gronkowski would like to tap out of that, and he would like to make his own schedule. The NFL does not allow you to make your own schedule. This is not Lyft or Uber. You are not allowed to do that, and it's pretty tough in the industrial complex of sport where they have the military-style schedule. So Gronkowski says, I'm retired, and he's going to rest up. He'll recover, and then before you know it, he'll be back under the big top. Now, which big top? We'll get to that in a minute, but Gronkowski has been providing a circus act for 11 seasons. He was the human cannonball act in Tampa recently. I witnessed it myself in person during a Week 3 game, Rams and Buccaneers last season. Gronkowski was laid out on the turf at SoFi Stadium. I still remember the sound of the Ram linebacker hitting Gronkowski. Now, I was sitting behind thick glass in that stadium, far, far away from the field, close to the pearly gates, and I still remember the sound of Gronkowski being just destroyed on that hit. And that's a semi-regular occurrence. He suffered broken ribs and a punctured lung in that game. Just another day at the office for Gronkowski. So he'll rest up, and we'll see what happens in a couple of months. But he'll be riding a jet ski around, wearing a Speedo, having a fine time, drinking cocktails. Now, part B of this, you've got the micro and the macro as far as what's next for Rob Gronkowski. Gronk, he's going to get back to his bread and butter. What is his bread and butter? That's the micro, goofball, life of the party, go mingle with some B and C list Hollywood celebrities in those circles. ride the all-access pass that he has from being a famous jock, and he can hang out with a lot of people that other people can't hang out with because he played in the NFL, and there's people that are like, hey, you want to hang out with Gronk? He's the life of the party. Come on now. It's a fiesta. And then there's also professional wrestling. He can go back and hang out there and do some stuff if he gets bored again. But that's all the short game. Now, the long game, when I say long game, I'm talking about the end of this year. We're already in late June now, so I'm talking November and December. Rob Gronkowski, he transforms. What does he become? A vulture. In terms of his sporting career, Gronkowski becomes the vulture. Now, what does the vulture do? What does that mean? Much like a vulture, he waits for the prey so he can cherry pick that nice plum landing spot. And Drew Rosenhaus, Gronkowski's rep, indicated that he believes the Bucs tight end will be back, and he will play. So his own agent thinks that Gronkowski's just bluffing on this. But I say do not limit yourself to Tampa. Everyone's like, oh, it's got to be the Bucs. It's got to be Tom Brady. It's got to be Brady. Yeah. Well, what if Brady sucks, right? What if Brady falls off the cliff or if he gets hurt? Why would you go back to the Buccaneers if you're Gronkowski? If Brady is a subpar player this year, if finally the age catches up to him, then why are you committed to going back there? I look around. Gronkowski's family is from Buffalo, the Buffalo area there. So if Dawson Knox or O.J. Howard get hurt with the Bills, I could see Rob Gronkowski warming up before a game, jumping on a table, and then going in and catching a touchdown for the Bills with lake effect snow. Couldn't you see that? Travis Kelce, let's say Travis Kelce ends up having snap, crackle, pop for breakfast at Arrowhead. Patrick Mahomes says, hey, Gronk, you want to come have some barbecue in Kansas City and look at the fountains? Does Gronk say yeah? Heck, L.A., Tyler Higbee, the Ram tight end, say he twists a knee, and Sean McVay gets on the phone, starts texting Gronkowski. Hey, when you're done in the Hollywood Hills, Gronk, why don't you come down and hang out with us for a few hours? Yeah, I'll get you ram horns. So we can go on and on, but the point I'm trying to make here is why we believe Gronk is going to come back, but I am not convinced it has to only be the Buccaneers. You got to be open-minded at this. And while Tampa is the favorite because of the bromance between Gronkowski and Tom Brady, things change. And if the landscape in the NFL is indicating go somewhere else, why would you go to Tampa? All right, parting shot on this. So in terms of the Buccaneers, how do the Bucs replace Gronkowski? Well, the answer on that, the short answer is they don't. There is not an equal level of ball player available. And you talk about going through the junkyard, doing the junkyard dive, dumpster diving. Whatever they do here is a downgrade. Now, more weight obviously goes to Cameron Brate. I have no skin in the game with the Buccaneers, but it's rather obvious that Cameron Brate now has to be all-encompassing, almighty, all-powerful, and has to carry the load. And after him, if you look around the shelves, it's kind of like when you went out to buy toilet paper or water at the beginning part of the pandemic, you couldn't find it. I'm looking around here, and there's nothing on the shelves. Like the Buccaneers are visiting Walmart right now, and they're like, all right, we're shopping, and there's no tight ends available. And there's nothing we can even get on the layaway program. There's nothing there at all. Now, from what we're hearing, they are looking at the classics. Now, you understand, if you are unemployed at this point in the NFL is telling you you're not good. Now, maybe the NFL's wrong, but the NFL is telling you with a month to go before training camp, if you are not on a roster, you are an afterthought. You are the flotsam and jetsam of pro football, at least in the eyes of the establishment. And so from what we're hearing, they are kicking the tires on a bunch of street free agents who are a mix of players who are long in the tooth but short on contracts. The unsigned players include Kyle Rudolph, the former Viking, the red-nosed tight end, Jared Cook, Jimmy Graham, Eric Ebron, Those are the players who are available. All of them are defective or, I should say, and or flawed in one way or another. Now, Kyle Rudolph, who is 32 and was really good. I remember him being really good in Minnesota. So then I went back and I looked and I said, well, how long ago was that? Because all these years run together. It's like a big haze. And sure enough, Rudolph has not been a productive tight end in pro football in 4 years. His last 40-catch season was 2018. So he has been below 40 catches since 2018. And I was like, well, Jared Cook's played for a lot of teams. He's on the Hobo Express. And I said, well, how good is he? He was, oh, yeah, he's okay. He's 35, and he doesn't really do much other than catch a few passes now and again, but he's not going to block anybody or do any of those other things. And then Jimmy Graham. I'm like, well, Jimmy Graham was like the greatest tight end in football. How long ago was that? And so I started digging around. I was like, holy cannoli. That was 8 years ago now. Where has the time gone back in his New Orleans Saints days? And at this point, Jimmy Graham is a middle-of-the-pack tight end. And then you've got Eric Ebron. Now, Eric Ebron played for the Lions. He went to the Colts. He had a big breakout season. And then he went to Pittsburgh shortly after that, and he hasn't been heard from since. You talk about a one-hit wonder. Eric Ebron, until proven otherwise, is a one-hit wonder. So that's who's available outside of a trade for Tampa and for Tom Brady. Can they go back and get some old Patriot tight end who's retired other than Gronkowski and bring them back? Ben Watson or somebody like that. There's got to be somebody out there, some old Patriot tight end they can bring back.